Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Steven.
Today we'll be filming from our kitchen, and we wanted to show you kind of a standard meal that we often cook for dinner.
So I've talked about this before. I try to keep things simple with our dinners and make them healthy and easy. So usually I do a grain, and so tonight it'll be rice. There's a protein, which will be, sometimes I do chicken, other times it'll be fish or shrimp. And then I do a bunch of vegetables. So tonight I have broccoli, carrot, mushrooms, and onion. We have already soaked the rice and cooked the rice in our rice cooker.
So before Steven cooks dinner tonight, he usually soaks the rice beforehand. And then it just goes into the rice cooker, and then he'll be ready to cook the rice, or the appliance will be ready to cook the rice.
Yeah.
After he soaks the rice, he pours out the excess water.
It's a cup and a half outside and a cup and a half inside, but that's unique to this rice cooker. Every rice cooker may be different. It usually takes about 45 minutes or so, and when the water's all cooked up, it'll stop automatically, so no need to check on the time. And now I need to go chop the vegetables and go cook them on the stove. I took a cooking class long time ago, and I've learned a little bit about cutting, but I don't remember all the techniques, so I just cut how I want to. There's really no right or wrong way. I grew up not being a big vegetable eater, but over time I realized, it's important to eat them, and I learned a few things that, you don't have to like everything you eat. And vegetables are sometimes one of those things that maybe you don't like eating certain vegetables, but they're actually good for you. And so what's important is to figure out how to cook them and eat them in ways that work for you. So by cutting them up and throwing them in rice and mixing them with a protein, you're not just eating like a whole onion or just the stalk, like the broccoli is like that. It's all cut up. And so I found that over time that was an easier way to sort of eat my vegetables, because they're mixed in with other things. You don't really notice them as much. We like to have like 3 or 4 different vegetables and try to shop, what's in season. It's also important to try to have like multiple colors. So with the broccoli, I'm actually going to cut off the stalks, and we can save those for another time, and maybe put them in a soup or chop them up on another evening. So these I'm just going to break off to smaller stems. So now I'm going to go to the stove. So now it's time to cook our veggies. So I get the stove going. We do have olive oil, which we sometimes use, but more recently we've just been using water for our veggies. So I put a little water into the pot, and this will, thin out as you cook it. I like to wait 15 to 30 seconds for it to heat up a little bit. I'm gonna put the veggies in, spoon to stir it all around, and then what I do is I just season it with some pepper, and you can put salt in there, but I don't like to put salt in there. But if you want to do other seasonings, you could too. So then, on the second burner, while the veggies are cooking, I'm going to do our protein. We will freeze a lot of our protein, so we'll buy a pound of meat, break it up into 4 to 6 servings, and then freeze it. So I've taken some out of the freezer. I've got some ground turkey that I had frozen. So turn on the second burner, and this burner I will use oil. So put a little olive oil, and we use extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to wait for that, for a moment to kind of heat up. Just that around. I'm going to take a separate spoon, obviously, because you don't want to mix your meat and your veggies, and so I usually ground it up where I can. The veggies usually can kind of just sit there, and you start to hear them sizzle a little bit, and that's when I move them around more. But as the pan's just heating up, just let them do their thing. All this time, the rice has been cooking, and I think it's actually at this point done, so it's just sitting there in the rice cooker ready for us for when the protein and veggies are done. So veggies are starting to sizzle a little bit. You can kind of tell when they're done, they should get a little more tender. With broccoli, you see it turning a little bit darker green. The onions turn a little more translucent. The carrots soften up just a bit. And the water kind of, burns out. The turkey is definitely starting to sizzle a little bit. Season this, but I'll do that. The turkey, it'll go from pink to more of the gray or brown. So it's getting there, it's getting pretty good. I like to be cautious, so I let it go for a little bit longer. Onions are becoming a little more translucent. Just flip around the broccoli a little bit. They're looking pretty good. I'm going to turn off this burner so they can just go on residual heat. Turn that off, let that sit for a moment. Since that's done, I'm now going to get rid of that spoon, since it touched raw meat, and then we'll combine it all. Our protein and veggies are done.
So I hope today you can just see how simple and easy a meal can be. Lots of vegetables, whole grains, and a little bit of protein.
So the other thing to think about too is, I chopped up enough vegetables that probably won't eat all of it tonight, but if you want to save some time, you can chop up more vegetables, and then whatever leftovers you have, just use them for the next night. As I said, we'll have enough rice for one more night, but here's a very simple rice dish. And one of the things is they don't have to have fancy names for your meals. I mean, this is just simple rice with
vegetables,
ground turkey and vegetables.
And we didn't have to have a lot of complicated ingredients or sauces to have a nutritious meal.
So as you saw, it only took less than 15 minutes to do the whole meal. That included the chopping of the vegetables, the cooking of the vegetables, the cooking of the protein, and then the plating it all. Sure, it took a little bit longer to do with the rice, but tomorrow when we cook the rice, all I have to do is heat that up while I'm cutting the vegetables. It won't take really any longer.
For more content about cancer survivorship and healthy living, please subscribe. Thank you for watching today.
Together we heal.